I do a fair amount of marriage counseling, and a typical theme when there is conflict in a marriage is family. And then people wonder why I do a Tall Trees leadership profile at the beginning of every marriage counseling journey. And it is because I know that our tree type and our personality type profoundly influences how we deal with family, how we regard family duties, and how we deal with family conflict. And I'm not just talking the family in our own home, but especially those two original homes. Think about your original home for a minute. Think about the family you hail from. Maybe it was one of those large families where aunts and uncles and grandparents and cousins twice removed, and everybody regularly got together, and it was your space where you shaped your identity. It was where you figured out who you were and where you belonged. Maybe some of you don't have that kind of a family background. Maybe you hail from a detached family, maybe a really small family. You may be a single child of a single child and have maybe one or two grandparents that you knew while they were still alive. Yet others have no biological family ties of any nature and have been adopted or fostered. And their view of family will be completely different, of course. So given that these diverse family backgrounds obviously influence how we see family, but setting that aside for a moment, I want you to consider the possibility that your personality type also factors into how you view your family. Because that happy, I want to say Italian family, and that's probably just how Hollywood has conditioned me, all these big happy families getting together under the Tuscan sun, Italians, maybe that's my frame of reference. But let's just say that ideal family picture that we sometimes have of everybody playing around, everybody sharing, generations eating together around a table, that is not a happy picture for everybody. There are personality types who would find such an idea super claustrophobic. So many people with a nose in my business, so many people looking over my shoulder, and so many people expecting something of me. So let's unpack that a little bit. Now, we already know that the palm trees among us are the super social ones. They are the more the merrier people, and typically they are not very focused on the negative, and they forget the conflict. They forget the fight we had last Christmas. They forget that one cousin is a little strange, because the cousin has good hair, so they will find something, even if it is a little superficial, they will find something positive in everybody in their lives, and that goes for family too. And there is another dynamic there, and that is that palm trees are the defender of the underdog. So the moment you try and motivate why you should separate from certain family members, why they should not be on the guest list for the Super Bowl party. By the way, how was your Super Bowl party? It was our first one in the US, and we thoroughly enjoyed it and ate way too much, and now we know what it's all about. And I still think it's a sissy game compared to South African rugby, so you can now unfollow me if you do not agree. But anyway, that apart, who do you invite to your Super Bowl party if you're the palm tree? Everybody, because, as long as they bring something to eat, probably. But it is typically not the palm trees causing the rifts in the family, because as far as they're concerned, most people are okay and okay to be around. Now, of course, us boxwoods, why are we always in trouble? But this is not something we need to face, because in both my last counseling sessions with couples who have conflict around families, around the original homes, and the voices that come into their home from the original homes, both of those really having a struggle with the boxwoods. And my theory is that the reason we struggle is because we are so principled. Now, other people would call us judgmental. We call ourselves principled. What that means is the moment we encounter somebody who doesn't share our value system, or who breaks a rule that we hold very dear, or who exhibits a behavior that we frown upon, we don't feel we can associate with them any longer. That's the boxwood way of thinking, because here's my box of good people and good behavior, and you just stepped outside of it. And now I have a problem. Now I don't know how to relate with you anymore. Then now I don't know if I want to expose my kids to you. Now I don't know if I want to have the conflict, because my problem is that if you're going to say something that is downright wrong in my little black and white world, I'm going to feel compelled to correct you, and then the party's over. Then it's no fun being around me anymore. So that's the challenge of the Boxwood, is to be able to maintain relationships with family members who don't share our value system. Is it important? Is it necessary? Should we learn to do that? I believe yes. I believe absolutely yes. And that is why in the wonderful design of things, we often marry or have family members in our current home, like children, who are not Boxwoods and who can model for us how to get along with those who disagree with us. And we need to learn that phrase of, let's talk about something else, or I don't think we can agree on this, so let's move on, instead of turning every family gathering into a let's figure out what's fake news and what's real, let's talk politics. So stay away from the contentious issues, and then family has a chance. What about the roses? Well, the thing is, roses look at people, and this is a hard phrase to hear when you are a rose, but roses look at people as functional or not functional, and often judged by whether you are functional in my world. What's the point for me to spend time with you? What is the point for me to have a relationship with you? What is in it for me? Ouch. It sounds a little narcissistic, I understand that, but let's expose it for all it is. If I am the goal-oriented rosebush who wants to get stuff done, then let's face it, family time can really break my speed. Family time can really hamper me from progress in the things that may be more important to me than relationships right now. Is that acceptable? Probably not. And for us as rose bushes who have a strong rosebush tendency, these family gatherings, these times when life does slow down under the big tree in the backyard, or at the fish waters, or in the cabin in the mountains, those times are times of sanity, because rose bushes tend to get insane in terms of chasing the task and the goal instead of nurturing relationships. So once again, rose bushes are often blessed with direct family who are pines and palms and all about the people who drag them, kicking and screaming sometimes, into these family situations, into these discussions with people that you have nothing in common with except DNA. And even though it feels like it's driving you insane, it really is making you sane. It really reminds you of the things that are lasting. It really reminds you of the truth that it's more about what you can mean to others than what you can get out of them or how you can use them. So if you can help it, do not use family gatherings for networking. See if there's a way you can use it for sanity, for reflection on the meaning of life and the meaning of people. And by all means, use it as an opportunity for you to mean something. Now, meaning something to family is not the same as solve all family problems. Because as the Boxwoods feel like they need to correct behavior and correct facts and so forth, rose bushes feel like if there is a problem, they need to fix it. And they can typically see the solution quite clearly, a big picture view, and you just need to do this, and then this is going to sort out. And rose bushes tend to sometimes turn it in a fix your family session, which again is not helpful. If you reflect back on the most unpleasant family moments you've ever experienced, if you're a rosebush, you will probably remember it as those times when they didn't listen to you, when you were fixing their problems. Now, a little newsflash, they also didn't have a good time right then, because having people fix your life is the same as having people say, you are helpless, you made mistakes for which you are not equipped. And for most people, that is an unpleasant message not to be heard or handled around the holidays. What about the beautiful pine trees? Oh, I love them because they are the defenders of family. I saw a little card yesterday on a table, and it may be just because it's close to Valentine's Day, because it had 2 little pine trees on it, and it said, "I'm pining for you." And I thought, that is the heart of the pine trees. They long for family, they hurt for family, they feel the burden of family, they're aware of the conflict, and it pains them. And yet they are not the ones interfering, they are not the ones correcting, they are not the ones controlling or manipulating family. They are just the ones suffering under all of that, most affected by that conflict. And at the same time, they are the bravest ones who will still make time and put in effort to keep the family bonds in place. So they are the glue holding families together. So if you are a more task-oriented person and you have a pine tree who keeps dragging you to these pointless, drawn-out get-togethers with family that you have nothing in common with, thank them. Thank them. Because if it were not for them, you would be allowed to become more selfish, more driven towards things that don't matter in the grander scheme of things. And you would learn less about compromise and relationship conflict resolution than you should. If there is family conflict and the conflict is directed at a pine tree in your life, you will probably need to stand up. And that's where family boundaries come in, but that is going to be a different conversation called your tree type and fences. We put up defenses and defenses, or the fences, or whatever you want to call them. And some of them will, of course, be electrified and have spikes on them and barbed wire. But that, as I said, we'll talk about later. See if there is a way you can embrace family today, even if there's nothing in it for you. Because actually there is.